Welcome back to Apex Alchemy, guys. Inside this pouch is a very, very, very nice knife, and we're going to get to it here in a second. I thought it was an original knife, as I wasn't familiar with the design, so it kind of fooled me. It doesn't have any logos on it. This is what I would actually consider to be a clone, because it doesn't have any logos on it, but it is pretty much an exact replica of a knife. But I do have some, ideas for the brand name Green Thorn. If they can pull things like this off, copying somebody else's design, then I really feel like they could actually contribute to the knife community in a way that would be more socially acceptable. Not sure how long it's going to take to load this video. I'm going to shoot it in the highest resolution I possibly can on the current camera that I have, but the milling is absolutely impeccable on this knife, man. They've done a great job. I love the back spacer. It's all titanium. Everything on this knife is titanium. Pocket clip's very stylish. But, of course, this is a copy of a Shirogorov. This was sent in by Still Addicted, so go check his channel out, and I will link it below. It has no brand markings on it whatsoever, which I very much appreciate. If you're going to, copy somebody else's design, the least you can do is not make it, a counterfeit, I guess you would say. And some people still may call this a counterfeit, because it is like an exact copy of the Shirogorov bio. Very, very, very smooth knife. It's 8.78 inches. No, it's 8 7/8 inches. So it's like 8.89 inches, something like that. All right, so it's very close to a 9-inch knife. We'll run it across some size comparisons just so you can see what's going on here. And then we'll talk about my views on this knife as a whole. Ontario Rat number 1. Cold Steel 8015. American Blade Works Model 1 version 7. Large Semenza 31. Kershaw Natrix. The Wee Knives Kite Fin. Kershaw Launch 16. And the Civivi Elementum. When I opened this pouch up originally, I get a note here that says it's in VG10 5960. It come from AliExpress for about 75 bucks. This is a claim on the metal and the hardness. We're going to find that out here shortly. It's made by a brand named Green Thorn, which I've heard of before. I think Green Thorn, they make some knives for other people, man. Like, I'm not entirely sure who. I'm not an expert when it comes to that stuff, but like, I believe they are like an OEM for other people. They're a Chinese company, obviously, and you know how that works. But Green Thorn has a pretty big name when it comes to knives, and I don't think it's just all counterfeit. But correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert when it comes to counterfeit. I do feel like it's important for somebody to keep up with what's going on out there, which Still Addicted is doing a really good job. He's buying these things and checking them out so you don't have to, or whatever, however you choose to look at it. But he sent these in for me to Rockwell test and just get my overall opinion. When I opened this thing up, I was like, oh my God. I've heard of Green Thorn. I think they're a counterfeit company. But what they've done here, I was like, they've got an original design. And I was super excited. And if they're selling it for 75 bucks and it's a titanium frame lock, now the VG10, I think you could get a little bit better of a steel for that price range, even with the titanium frame lock, because this titanium is probably TC4, which is nothing wrong with that. It's titanium, but like the good stuff, the AL4V or whatever, that's generally what you find in American knives over here. But anyway, I was just like overloaded with excitement, because I was like, if you can pick this up for 75 bucks, I'm actually excited to see what future Green Thorn has. And I still kind of am, because listen, if you can do this, if you can build this knife, this is a copy of a $2,200 knife, and it's got wonderful action. It's made out of pretty decent materials, and you're charging a really good price for it, then it's not that hard to draw a knife on a piece of paper. Now this is just my views, okay? I think that they make their own designs, and they may make their own designs. If anybody knows more about the brand, obviously, let me know in the comments. But they may make their own designs, but I feel like once a company gets to this point where you can do something this extravagant, you're missing out on an opportunity. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they actually are part of other brands like Tucson or something like that. I don't really know. I'm not entirely sure how all that operates. But That's just my humble opinion, and I'm going to keep it nice and short. But I think if you can make a knife that's nice, then you could probably come up with your own designs. The reason why, you know, we see that question a lot, like why do they make copies of other people's knives? If you know, if they can make a nice, if they can make a knife this knife, if they can make a knife this nice, I'm leaving that in by the way. Then why won't they make their own designs? Well, it's because there's Americans out here, and people all over the world actually, but there's people out there that will buy these. That, you know, if they can make 300 of them, which is actually the number of, you know, if you look up a Shirogorov bio, they make them in runs of 300, it looks like, and they're all numbered, and they're $2,200 knives. So even if you have the money, you might not be able to grab one up because they're limited quantity. And for that reason, you know, there's going to be people out there that just kind of want to have something they can put in their hand that feels somewhat similar, reminds them, or, you know, get a little bit of a taste. It's not exactly, yeah, I've been there before. You know, it's not exactly what you want, but until you can scratch the itch, whether that be coming up with the money or actually being able to find a model for sale, you know, then this may suffice for the time being. But yeah, they could actually come up with a knife, put green Thorn on the blade somewhere, or not, maybe put it on the spine, come up with their own logo, and start making knives under their own house, you know, with their own designs. And I think that would be really exciting. You know, that's just me. Leave your thoughts below. Let's go get to the Rockwell test. That way we can see exactly how hard this thing is. We won't be able to tell what type of steel it is by the Rockwell test, but we will be able to tell where the Rockwell test or what the HRC number reflects. That doesn't always reflect a good heat treat. I want to make that well known. You know, in our Tucson video, this knife, this is the last video that we come out with. This knife is K110, which is a version of Bowler D2. Well, I mean, it's Bowler's version of IC D2. So anyway, this knife tested at 63. That's a really good number, but there are ways that you can get that number to 63 and your customer base be happy and then probably never know anything the wiser if all they're doing is cutting up Amazon boxes and stuff like that. But, you know, what you might not have is you might not have the best tempering, because all you got to do is quench a knife and temper it very low, you know, to get a hard number. The more the knife is tempered, the stronger the steel is, the tighter the grain structure, all that stuff's going to be, but the lower the Rockwell number goes. So it's not as hard. There are ways with nitrogen and even dry ice cryo, where you can boost that number up and retain that toughness, but you know, we don't always know that's what's going on. So we have to assume that, well, we just have to assume our ignorance because we don't, you know, have any clue as to why the number is where it's at. The more you know, the more questions you get. Anyway, we're going to take this to the Rockwell test. We're going to see where it's at. And I'm going to get your knives back to you, Still Addicted. Thank you for sending them in for the Rockwell test to be done. I very much enjoyed playing around with your collection. And we'll get them back to you. Okay, we are at our Rockwell tester. We're going to test the block just to see if we are at 63. That is our number. That's our calibration block is at 63 HRC. And as long as we are at 63, then we will test the number on this Shirogorov. We got flat here and a flat on the opposite side in the same spot. That's what we're going to go with. We'll find out where Green Thorn does their VG10, supposedly. Like I said, that number doesn't mean everything. We are at 63. We're calibrated. We're good. Let's rock and roll with it. Gonna get as close as we can. It's advertised at 59 to 60. That is an incredibly easy number to hit with VG10, if it in fact is VG10. So I don't think they would have any problems hitting it. 60. Okay. Do one more test on the other side. In precisely the same location. I know one of those counterfeit companies over there is the ones that were making the what's it called, man? The District 9 catastrophes and stuff like that. Does anybody know exactly who that was? I heard it was G Fuel, but I don't know 100%. That's a 59.5. So it's in the parameters in which it was advertised. Well, thank you again, Still Addicted. Make sure you go check his channel out. He's got a new channel. Probably would absolutely adore some new viewers. We know exactly what that's like. You guys have a good one, and we will catch you on the flip side.